air around us? Air. Air is all around us. It is present everywhere on the earth. Hold your hand in front of your mouth. Can you feel the air coming out from your nose and mouth? All living beings need air to survive. Air itself is invisible, tasteless, and has no smell, but it carries the smell of other things like flowers, fruits, and even garbage. We cannot see the air, but we can feel its presence. Do you feel the air moving when you switch on a fan? Does it make a calendar flutter? You might have seen a popping calendar in the market where you pop each bubble to make the date appear. You might have also played with bubble plastic sheets used as packing material. Have you ever wondered why a pop sound is heard when each bubble is burst on pressing? Moving air is called wind. When air moves, it makes the chakri to rotate. Wind can move other things as well. Wind carries hot air balloons and gliders from one place to another. It also moves the sailboats, yachts. It helps the parachutes to land safely. It is important for us to know the speed and direction of wind so that we can use it to our advantage. We can find out the direction of the blowing wind by using a device called weathercock. The device used to measure the speed of the wind is called anemometer. When the wind blows at a low speed, we call it a breeze. And when it blows at a very high speed, we call it a storm. Wind is helpful to us in many ways. It makes us feel cool. It helps in drying wet clothes faster. It helps in pollination. It ensures the dispersal of seeds and fruits. It makes the windmills to rotate and generate electricity, to draw water from wells and to grind wheat. It helps the birds and insects to fly. Properties of air. Air occupies space. Take a glass jar. Cover it with your hand. What is inside the jar? Is it empty? Let us find out. Activity 1. Aim. To show that air occupies space. Take a glass trough, fill it with water. Take a dry glass jar and stick a piece of paper at its base. Now turn the jar upside down in the trough. You will observe that water cannot enter the jar and the paper remains dry. Next, tilt the jar a little. You can see air escaping in the form of bubbles. You can also see water rushing into the jar. Does the paper become wet now? You will find that the paper becomes wet only when the air from the jar has escaped. The water could not enter the jar earlier because the space inside the jar was occupied by air. Air has mass. We can find out this by performing a simple activity. Activity 2. Aim. To show that air has mass, you need a ruler, 2 balloons, a piece of string and a pin. Inflate the balloons and tie them up. Hang them at the two ends of the ruler with strings. Tie a third piece of string in the middle of the ruler in such a way that when hung, the balloons balance each other. Ask your friend to prick one of the balloons with a pin. You will observe that the ruler tilts towards the side of the inflated balloon. What conclusion can you draw from this observation? This shows that air has mass. So the ruler tilts towards the side of inflated balloon. Air has energy. Air can move many things. Air in the form of storm can uproot trees and cause destruction. Energy of moving air is called wind energy. Windmills convert this wind energy into electrical energy for our use. Inflate a balloon. Do not tie it, just twist the opening. Hold it high above your head and release it. The balloon moves around with high speed. What gave the balloon energy to move? Air exerts pressure. When we fill air in a balloon, its pressure inflates the balloon. It pushes the surface of the balloon outward. Moreover, a balloon generally has a round shape, showing that air inside it exerts equal pressure in all directions. When the balloon is released, this air forces the balloon to move. When we drink a cola with a straw, it is the air pressure on the surface of the liquid which forces it into the straw when we suck it. If air exerts so much pressure, why don't we feel it all the time? This is because our bodies exert an equal pressure outwards. Composition of air. Air is a mixture which consists of many gases and suspended particles. Nitrogen is the major component of air and occupies 78% of air. Another major component of air is oxygen and occupies 21% of air. Carbon dioxide, argon, and some other gases are also present in air. Oxygen also supports burning. Air also contains water vapor. If you keep a glass tumbler containing water and ice cubes in a room, you can see water droplets on its outer surface. This is because the water vapor of air condenses into water on coming in contact with a cool surface. Have you seen dewdrops on leaves in the winter mornings? The amount of water vapor varies from place to place and from time to time. The amount of water vapor present in air is called humidity. Dust and smoke are also present in air. The particles of dust are so small that they are not visible to us in presence of light. Air supports life. Water contains air dissolved in it. The oxygen present in it helps the submerged aquatic plants and animals to survive in water. The leaves of submerged aquatic plants absorb carbon dioxide from the water to prepare food. The aquatic animals have special organs through which they breathe the air dissolved in water. For example, fish, tadpoles, and crabs have gills for respiration. Air is also trapped inside the particles of soil. Earthworms, snails, and other small animals living in the soil respire through this air. The roots of plants also need this air. The burrows and holes dug up by animals also provide path to air under the soil for the animals to breathe. Why do we see so many insects and worms in the rainy season? This is because the rainwater fills up the air spaces in the soil, forcing the animals to come out to breathe. This is also the reason why we see so many earthworms during heavy rainfall. Role of the atmosphere. Our earth is covered by a blanket of air, which extends to a greater height above the surface of the earth. This is called atmosphere. The force of gravity holds this atmosphere to the earth. The atmosphere is densest near the surface of earth. As we go higher and higher, the atmosphere gets thinner and thinner until it merges with the outer space. You must have seen pictures of mountaineers carrying oxygen cylinders. This is because as we go higher up, the amount of air and therefore oxygen present around us decreases. Earth's atmosphere is made up of several layers. The atmosphere helps in keeping the earth warm. It also prevents the surface of the earth from becoming very hot during the day. Its ozone layer protects us from harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. It also plays an important role in the formation of clouds, rain, and snow. Balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in nature. Living organisms cannot survive without oxygen. Although oxygen is being continuously consumed by all living beings, still its amount in air remains constant. This is because of the oxygen carbon dioxide cycle, which continuously operates in the atmosphere. Human beings and animals take in oxygen from the atmosphere and release carbon dioxide during breathing. During burning, oxygen is also used up and carbon dioxide is released. Presence of oxygen is necessary for our survival as it breaks food into simpler substances in our body and provides us with energy. On the other hand, plants take in carbon dioxide present in the air to manufacture food by the process of photosynthesis and release oxygen in the atmosphere. Thus, a balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen is maintained in the nature. Therefore, plants and animals are interdependent on each other. It is essential that Earth's green cover consisting of all plants is maintained for our own survival. Air pollution. When unwanted particles mix with air, it is called air pollution. Large particles of dust, smoke from chimneys, and vehicles cause air pollution. These undesirable substances are called pollutants. When fuels like petrol, diesel, or coal are burnt, they give out very harmful gases. Air pollution gives adverse effects on plants as well as animals, inclusive humans. These gases may damage our respiratory system and cause skin disorders. It is important that these gases should not be allowed to go into atmosphere. Some steps to control air pollution are planting of trees, example, afforestation, reducing the burning of fossil fuels, recycling plastics, regular checking of vehicles for the emission of harmful gases. Signs in the vicinity. Green plants absorb CO2 and release O2 needed for survival of living being by a process called photosynthesis in presence of water and sunlight. Air is a mixture of many gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas that traps heat close to the earth. It helps the earth hold some of the heat it receives from the sun. So it doesn't all escape back into space. But CO2 is only good up to a point. Beyond that point, Earth's temperature warms up too much. NASA research satellites such as OCO2 and OCO3 are studying how carbon moves around the planet. When humans burn fossil fuels like gasoline and coal, carbon dioxide is produced. This number tells how many parts of carbon dioxide there are in 1 million parts of air. So, if carbon dioxide is at 416 parts per million or ppm, that means 1 million particles of air there are 416 particles of carbon dioxide. We need to keep a close watch on this number. Carbon dioxide levels have gone sky high in the past 100 years. Many scientists think that 350 ppm is a much healthier number and that we should try to reduce our use of fossil fuels to get at number back. When a doctor or nurse takes your pulse and your temperature, she or he is checking your vital signs. These measurements are called vital because they are all important signs of your health.